One of the spots that I'm visiting while in BC on my time off is this spot that has quartz and probably some other minerals. You can see there's a bunch of amygdaloidal slash vesicular basalt just like on the ground. I don't know if it's eroded away from the cliff or the road cut, or if it's just a case of this was the material that they put to keep like material from sliding down. But I was recommended this spot because it has some juicy quartz and some other stuff. And as you can see, there's like this amygdaloidal slash vesicular basalt that has what looks to be like quartz, and I found some pieces that seem like it's calcite and some other stuff. Actually, where is that small piece? Here we go. I don't know if this is calcite or maybe some barite, but this is a really tiny little cluster something, just some crystal sprays. I'll have to test it out, but I think that would look good under a microscope. Actually, that would be a nice little microscope specimen. But yeah, I'll show you guys if I find anything more. There's a lot of material here to kind of break open. I brought some chisels and a sledge so that I can do that, and I'm just gonna see what I can find, and I'll try and show you guys because it looks pretty cool. I was just looking around this pile of basalt, and I flipped over one of the smaller pieces, and check out this interesting kind of mass of crystals, tiny little crystals. I don't know if this is calcite or some type of zeolite. I apologize for the car noises. I'm right beside a road, of course, but it's interesting. I think this is definitely gonna be a keeper, but I'll have to do some more research on this material because I am not at all versed in BC specimens and material. I just flipped over another piece of basalt, and check this out. I'll have some macro pictures that I'll post up beside, but check out these. I think these are zeolites. They're weird looking things, and usually for me that means since I'm not used to this stuff and it's in basalt, I'm gonna guess it's zeolites. I'll have to contact a friend of mine currently rockhounding. He's a lot more versed in zeolites, but this looks exciting. I'll try and extract it. Hopefully I can extract it without breaking it, because this would be a cool little specimen to have. If not, maybe there's more stuff in this chunk of basalt, and maybe I'll find an even better pocket inside. So I will try and extract this piece, kind of get the section I want off of it, and I'll see if there's anything else in there, and I'll try and show you guys if I am successful. I've been busting open the basalt that I found with all the what I think are zeolites. Here are a couple little pieces that kind of just fell out of the pockets. You can see that one's got it's two crystals. That one is kind of the shape of partially the shape of the pocket, and you can see tiny crystals. Same with this one. It's a tiny crystals. I apologize for the loud vehicles. Then I found that guy with that nice orange crystal, and then I found this guy with that long skinny crystal, and this guy with some pockets of crystals. This is pretty exciting. This is all new territory for me, so I'm just very happy to just explore and trying to find stuff and see how stuff extracts. But I will get back to you guys if I find anything else. I managed to free another pocket. Check out all these gemmy crystals. So cool. I'm hoping I can find some bigger ones. There seems to be some more basalt down this way that is definitely interesting. I got what looks to me a couple pieces of Chabazite. They're really small crystals, but they look like what I would think a Chabazite crystal looks like. And they're in basalt, so you know. And I'm finding what I think are other zeolites around me, so I think it makes sense. But pretty happy with these finds. Found a couple more things And there are a couple boulders down there that I want to crack open, and then I'll probably have to get going because I won't have off time anymore. But yeah, check that out. Very cool. It's a larger crystal that has sheared off of its matrix, and then it's got all these tiny little other crystals growing on top of it, like secondary growths. That's so cool. And you can see where it was attached on one side of the vug, and you can see where it's sheared off on the other side. That is a cool little specimen. I thought I'd just show you what I'm kind of like picking through, so that you guys get a kind of an idea. So I think this basalt is from here, because this seems like that looks like basalt, and I think what happened is there's certain layers that I think just have more bubbles in them, and when they blasted this road cut, there was a lot of the more vesicular stuff, and so that's what they blasted down here. But you kind of just look through all this stuff, looking for like minerals and stuff. Like you can see the traces of stuff in there that have weathered out. You can see here on the back of this guy, shame it's all busted and stuff, but there's a large plate of crystals. Maybe I'll bust open this guy and see if there are any other big pockets with crystals in there. But you just kind of look around at the vesicular stuff and look for crystals in the vugs, and like you can see some of them fill out with the minerals. And you just, yeah, you look for the stuff and you hope you find something really cool. Well, maybe there is some light mineralization. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. And I'm looking for the pockets with the big crystals, well, decent sized crystals at least. The nice thing about this vesicular basalt, it's quite light when it's full of holes. So that'll make it easy for me to ship back a bunch of specimens, because there's no way I'm going to be able to fit all the stuff I want to take home in a suitcase. So I'm going to have to mail some of the stuff I've collected to myself and just send it across Canada back home, or at least that's my plan. But thankfully vesicular basalt seems to be quite light, which is kind of good for me, which means I can send more specimens back. I thought I'd show you this really nice gemmy pocket of crystals I found. I think it's on like a quartz matrix. It's in a bit of a less vesicular-ish basalt matrix. But I spent like a good 10-15 minutes cracking this guy out. You just look at those crystals, they're so nice and gemmy. There's a bit of damage over here when I was extracting, but altogether most of the crystals here are intact, and they're very lovely unweathered crystals. They almost remind me of dogtooth. Like maybe I'm mistaking dogtooth and vesicular basalt for a zeolite, but I don't know if you can find like calcite in basalt, if that's like a regular occurrence. So I'll have to do some asking around, but this is a lovely specimen. Definitely coming home with me. A lot of this basalt is super crumbly, like it just falls apart. And so if there are minerals in that basalt, it kind of just falls out. But I found some more tiny clusters. This one's interesting, the one that you're seeing in front of you, because it's terminated at the top, but it's like a spray of minerals. And it's this really nice gemmy kind of honey orange, but that's not damage at the top. That's contact with the top of the pocket plus actual termination, which is really interesting. So I'm wondering what that mineral is in the first place. It's a very cool looking mineral. So I found this specimen, which has a bunch of different, I don't know if it's the same mineral and it's just a different habit. You can see here's a partially filled pocket in the basalt. Here's a spray of crystals. And then here you can kind of see, it's almost like waterline. You know how it goes in layers? You got a bunch of tiny needle-like crystals that have just formed in like layers. And there's this interesting, I don't know if it's just rust or if it's actually smaller minerals. I'd have to take a look under my microscope camera when I get home. But there seems to be also some like weird orange stuff So who knows? But this is a cool piece. I think I'm going to keep it as is because I like the 3 different pockets of minerals. I think that's pretty cool and unique, and it'd be a shame to try and extract it more and break it, so I'm going to keep it as is. I have to leave soon from this place, but I thought I'd quickly show you the final specimen that I went after and trimmed up. It's a specimen of Chabazite, or what I believe is Chabazite. It looks like Chabazite, like small Chabazite crystals. It's got that same kind of rhombohedral shape. And inside, some of the pockets were more fresh, so they're not as weathered. So you can see some nice stuff. There's even some other minerals included in there. But yeah, check that out. It's got to get cleaned off, but hopefully that'll be a nice plate of druzy Chabazite, or at least that's what I believe it is. But that's all the stuff I found for today, and I have to get going. But I think I might be back here again just to do a bit more exploring and cracking open rocks and stuff like that, because it seems like an interesting little spot. Here are a bunch of the finds all cleaned up. This was from my first trip to Cena Drive, or Cena Road. It's actually been so long from when I'm recording this cleanup part of the video to when I collected that I can't remember the actual other name. But as you can see, I've got a bunch of different specimens. So I believe most of the stuff that I found is actually calcite. At first I was like, I think this is some type of zeolite, but I believe these are just different forms of calcite. Like this is just a mass of smaller calcite crystals. This one has the more classic kind of like dog-tooth crystals. You can see they're quite gemmy and quite nice actually. This one is interesting. So there is one other mineral. I'm thinking it might be Chabazite, like this white mineral. And then this is just a lump of interestingly grown, probably slightly partially etched calcite crystals. I'll do a close-up. This run in the back that I already showed you, with this lovely pocket, really like shiny crystals, plus this one with this pocket of shiny crystals and some interesting other stuff. I believe this one had some stuff on the back, or maybe it was this one. Some of these, yeah, they have like little calcites in there too. I'll do, as I'm showing you these things, I'll hopefully have put up some zoomed in imagery as well, just to give you guys a closer look. But it's quite interesting to see how there's just so many different like formations and variations of calcite in the same formation. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. When I was looking up this area, it's actually 2 separate igneous occurrences meet right at where the road cut was. So I bet that has some reason to do with why there's some very like wide variety of calcites. Like this one is another calcite, but then there's these pockets with maybe some other minerals. So I'll try and zoom in on some of those pockets and just see what they are, because that might be interesting for you guys. There's some smaller pockets back there with probably some small dog tooths and just like some interesting stuff on these. Just some more like interesting calcite formations. This is a contact point. Later on I did a second trip and I found not exactly the same type of calcite, but I found these calcites that had these smaller secondary like toothy calcites on the side, and this is an example of that. But it's got this interesting beige mineralization. I might actually take a look at this one also under the camera just to see what that beige is, if it's just like some type of clay mineralization. And you just got these interesting like kind of plumes of calcite. just more interesting like formations of dog tooth and like elongated, what I would call elongated dog tooth crystals. But in general, a very interesting site, and I will actually have a second video out on this site because I went back there with a local rockhounding buddy and friend, and he showed me another area where they just dumped a bunch of the rock from when they blasted the road cut originally. So we dug through that area and I found some interesting stuff. So I'll have a second video out on that stuff too, of course. But that will probably be later on. I'll just number these videos part 1 and part 2. And eventually, hopefully I remember to link them together so that if you're watching this in the future, like months from now, you'll hopefully be able to just watch part 1 and then go to part 2 right away. Or if you're coming from part 2, hello, this is part 1. We have gotten to the end of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please do consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps out my channel, and I appreciate all the support I can get, showing these awesome trips and showing all the awesome things I get to find, because I get to have so much fun, and I just want to share that with you guys. But if you like this stuff, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I just want to wish you guys all a very good day. Also, in the comments below, leave a comment below which was your favorite find from this video. Which one did you like the most? I always like hearing that kind of feedback, and I enjoy conversing with you guys in the comments. So please do, in the comments below, let me know what was your favorite find from this video. Have a good day, guys.